Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no. So you guys are never going to believe this. At just 9:11 a.m. this morning, the song Kung Fu Fighting is stuck in my head. And it has everything to do with Freya Sky and my passion for talking about Freya Sky, because I love talking about her so much. I think the theme song of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampire should have been Kung Fu Fighting, hands down. Carl Douglas all the way, man. There's just something about talking about Freya Sky. I love talking about her so much, and I think everybody is very passionate about Freya Sky, so I love uploading videos about Freya Sky at just 9:11 a.m. this morning. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Undeniably, you've been showing for this YouTube channel over the past several weeks. People have been subscribing to this YouTube channel like it's going out of style. I can't even put into words how appreciative I am of everybody being here and just being around everybody with my voice being lended to the Descendants and Zombies soundtracks. Being your voice of Descendants and Zombies comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of prestige. And I think that if somebody is going to proclaim that they are the voice of Descendants and Zombies, then they've just got to be that. They've got to be the voice of Descendants and Zombies and be there for everybody who loves Descendants and Zombies so much. I think that Descendants and Zombies has meant so much to everybody over the last 10 years, and it's been an incredible decade for me to be here, to be talking about your favorite stars like Freya Sky, Kylie Cantrell, Malia Baker, who I love so much. I think that her portrayal of Cinderella's daughter, Chloe Charming, was fabulously done and brought to life in a way that I can't even put into words, because I've been a huge fan of Cinderella for forever, and every aspect of Cinderella has been a very avid part of my life. I think I can't do without talking about Cinderella and just the magic that's associated with it. And I think that every child deserves to believe in magic to a certain extent. I don't think that should ever be taken away from somebody. I think that if you believe in magic and you believe in fairy tales, I think that is fantastic. If that is the reason why you are here today, welcome to the show. You are going to really love this show because I talk a lot about Descendants and Zombies, and I'm very addicted to your favorite stars. I'm addicted to your favorite stars because I love the passion that they showcase every single time they step out onto the Worlds Collide Tour stage. They step onto the set of Descendants and Zombies. They have such a passion that is truly undeniable that I think really has captivated me over the last 10 years. And if there was one thing that I could talk about, it's captivation and how these stars really bring this franchise to life and inspire millions of people. Even people who aren't fans of Descendants, don't even know who Descendants are captivated by this. I think that families, parents are captivated by it too. And I think that all the sacrifices that parents made for their children to be a part of the Worlds Collide Tour this past summer, that deserves to be commended. Because you guys went above and beyond the requirements of an everyday parent to really bring this to life for your child, to make sure they were a part of an immersive experience. And I have a thank you to throw out to everybody seemingly every time that I throw up a video on my YouTube channel about this, because I think that the experience that you guys had this past summer was something to never ever forget and to forever and always cherish. I think that if we're going to upload a video about the Worlds Collide Tour, then we should talk about the Worlds Collide Tour, and we should do just that. We should talk about how incredibly gorgeous Freya Sky is, how incredibly gorgeous Kylie Cantrell is, because I think that there have been way too many times that I've seen tears in the eyes of Kylie Cantrell, and I forever wanted to do something about that. I forever always wanted to be there out of support for fans of Kylie Cantrell, and that's why I started uploading videos about Descendants and Zombies over a year ago. Periodically, I was uploading videos of Dove Cameron and your favorite Descendants stars of old, and people were giving me such a huge response, but I never ever thought a year and a half later I'd be sitting here with over 3,000 people having subscribed to this YouTube channel, and I would be talking about Descendants and Zombies so proud to talk about Descendants and Zombies for everybody, a global audience, which really became a global phenomenon for me. I just kind of woke up one morning, started uploading Descendants videos at random, and here we are a year and a half later. It seems as if I was walking through the forest, and you know how you see a direction sign pointing you in the arrow of the direction, and it seems like I've seen a sign pointing me in the direction of Aradan for forever, and I've never ever left. And I've enjoyed talking about Aradan for forever. I really believe that that could have been turned into a TV series, and the characters that did have a greater emphasis on in the Descendants franchise could have had a TV series about, you know, their time spent attending Aradan Prep and how they went to get their education. I think that that would have been really cool, having a TV show for Disney Plus called Aradan. I think if I would have been the producer behind Descendants and Zombies, I would have forever advocated for that, because I think I've always loved Aladdin, and I've always loved Ariel from The Little Mermaid. So I think that because I've loved all these characters that haven't seemed to have a greater appreciation of them for the last at least, oh, dare I say, 30 years, I would love to see a show where we saw a greater emphasis put on characters such as Aladdin and Jasmine, because I remember growing up being a huge fan of Aladdin and loving that animated classic. How, of course, Scott Wagner brought that character to life, and then, of course, Linda Larkin as Jasmine. I think that there's always and forever going to be a greater appreciation for characters that you wish you could just see and be a part of it. I think this is really an immersive experience. This Descendants journey that we've been on for the last 10 years, no matter if we talk about Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson all the time, and then transit over to Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker, I think that everybody's accepted this franchise in some way or somehow. Everybody is a fan of Descendants for whatever reason you're a fan of Descendants and Zombies. And I'm here to let you guys know there's nothing wrong with being a fan of Descendants and Zombies. To tell you guys the truth, I can upload videos about Descendants and Zombies from dawn until dusk because I really do love talking about these franchises and love talking about the truer emphasis that is behind Aladdin and Jasmine that has forever and always been there. Because, I mean, all Jasmine ever wanted from Aladdin was his trust. And he got that. He got that from Jasmine when they went on that magical carpet ride. And I think that there's always the opportunity to see Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker take that magic carpet ride. There's always that chance that they could take a journey to Olympus with the Hercules characters. There's always an opportunity to see things come into fruition for Descendants and Zombies. And that's what I've always wanted to encourage to everybody who watches one of my videos, is that, you know, we're not just necessarily seeing emphasis on Alice in Wonderland characters. We're not just seeing emphasis on Cinderella characters, because there's always a greater appreciation for those. I get that. Forever and always I've wondered where Alice is, with the emphasis being put on the stronger emphasis now on Alice in Wonderland characters. But the thing is, and so many characters coming into the franchise for a short amount of time, and then their time with the Descendants franchise was very short-lived. I understand where you're coming from and where your frustration lies with this kind of thing. But I think that the door has never been more widely left open for more opportunities to be explored and more chances to be taken by Chloe Charming and Red, because there's so much of a story and a lore that goes with Alice in Wonderland. There are so many characters that have been forgotten about, like how Disney makes a video game like Epic Mickey, and they throw all these characters into the video game like Bambi and Cinderella characters and Sleeping Beauty. There's always a reference of Aurora in classic Disney video games. And I think, and I can't forget to mention how beautiful a name Aurora is. I think that there are so many characters that have been forgotten about over the years, and I think Descendants and Zombies have allowed us the opportunity to really explore the lore that exists with Sleeping Beauty and Snow White. I think that just having the evil queen's daughter Evie show up in Descendants with no backstory whatsoever presented a challenge for Sophia Carson, but she brought it to life. And I think that with how many characters, from the Huntsman to the Seven Dwarves that were in the Snow White Classic, I think there are so many opportunities to have so many characters that you wouldn't think would show up in the Descendants franchise, even the dwarves, even if they had sons or daughters. That would be really, really cool, because looking at it from the point of view of having nephews of Smee, or characters from Encanto and Princess and the Frog, is one way of looking at it, because you not only have retro characters, but you also have characters that present a new vibe and a new turn in the story. I think that really, when you talk about Descendants and Zombies for fans, you've really got to show up with a greater appreciation than any other critic on YouTube, because there are a lot of critics on YouTube that will choose to criticize this franchise for just the sake of criticizing a franchise, because there is nothing else on their mind to criticize. I mean, we can wake up every single morning and choose to criticize the President of the United States for his choices, how he represents himself, and that's just something to criticize, because that's what a critic loves to do, is they criticize people, and they criticize people who aren't supporters of Donald Trump because they believe that somebody should be criticizing the President of the United States. But as a result of that, we've got people like Kylie Cantrell crying all the time, and I've wanted to do something about that for forever, because Kylie Cantrell doesn't deserve to waste her tears on issues that really make no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, you have this beautiful girl who came from out of nowhere, just showed up, said, "Hey everyone, my name is Kylie, I want to entertain you, I want to be a part of your life." What's so wrong with that? Why do we choose to criticize a girl who just wants to be a part of our life, to put a smile on her face, to give us hope? I think that anyone that goes out of their way to give us hope, like Kylie and Malia, they deserve all the respect in the world. And that's exactly what I'm here to do. Talk about your favorite stars. Talk about the history that exists with Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella characters. Because there really is a greater appreciation. You know, I remember being 15 years old and still being as huge of a fan of Cinderella as I was when I was 5. Because in all honesty, there is so much of a lore that goes with these characters, and so many adaptations and variations of Cinderella we've seen over the years. Lily May's portrayal of the live-action Cinderella. One thing I remember about the live-action Cinderella, you know, so many years after the classic had become so revered, was just how iconic the dress was, how much time and effort went into the detail of a live-action like Cinderella, and nobody could ever post anything nice about it. The people who went to see Cinderella, who were fans of Cinderella, posted the most beautiful reviews, and you guys deserved all the respect in the world. I go back to 2015, the same year Descendants premiered, so we had the live-action Cinderella, we had the premiere of Descendants. 2015 was a huge year for Disney fans. And I remember how fans went to see Cinderella and they were absolutely captivated by the dress. I remember watching the Cinderella live action and I remember the reactions of people in the crowd watching this, and they were absolutely mind-blown, myself included. I think that if you can take a live-action princess and bring her to life in the way that Princess Red and Chloe Charming were brought to life for Descendants, then more power to you. I encourage that. And that's why I'd love to be the writer and producer of Descendants and Zombies. I'd just like to take a second to throw that out there, that I would love to be the writer and producer of Descendants because I have a greater appreciation for fairy tales and the history that goes with it because I've studied it for years. And that's why every morning after 9:25 a.m. or a little bit earlier, I can jump on this podcast and I can talk about it because I see the appreciation with the friendship between Jacques and Cinderella, how he wanted her more than anything to attend the ball and find true love. I mean, who out there doesn't want to find true love in their lifetime? I think that no matter how old you are, I think that you can always be persuaded to believe in something special. I think that if you want to believe that you can find true love, even if you are 7 years old, then go for it. I think that everybody deserves to believe in a dream. I don't think anybody deserves to ever have that taken away from them. And for sure, that's one thing I've never ever wanted to do. I wanted to put a stronger emphasis on how dreams can happen for everybody with this channel. And if you see your dreams becoming a reality through the power of Descendants and Zombies or anything Disney or Nickelodeon related, then I encourage that. And that's what I'm here to do. Because I believe in it just as much as what you do. Because I think everybody has a dream. No matter how far away that dream may seem to be for somebody, I think everybody has a dream and everybody has the right to believe in that dream. Everybody deserves to believe in it. And I think that Princess Red and Chloe Charming did a fabulous job. It's beyond me why they don't refer to her as Princess Chloe. I think eventually in the Descendants franchise there will be a greater emphasis on just how much of a princess Chloe Charming actually is. And that's a movie in its own right where Chloe discovers her passion and discovers her true, worth. I think there is so much of an opportunity going back to how much of a story can be created with Descendants and Zombies. And then you have these stupid critics on YouTube all the time uploading videos offering you discouragement about what you think is going to happen with Descendants and Zombies. But here's what I want to say to you guys. Your predictions are what matters, what it comes down to, and if you believe there's a stronger emphasis on Princess Red or Chloe Charming and their history and their lore, then more power to you. I'm here to encourage that because I think there is so much more of a story to see for Chloe Charming, so much more of a story to see for Princess Red, and I'm excited for that because there are so many predictions people are making early on. We know the consequences of time travel will be very apparent in Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland. And I really look forward to seeing just how apparent these consequences of time travel are. One consequence of time travel will be that Red has a sister named Pink. To be honest with each and every one of you, I'm really excited to see what Leah Money will offer to this franchise because I remember seeing her on High School Musical, the series, the musical, and it was amazing. I think that every song that you gave her to sing on that soundtrack was beautifully done. Beautifully done. Gives me even more of a reason to put on a cup of tea every morning and slurp on it every single time that I'm talking about Descendants and Zombies because really I do love talking about it. I think that the characters in High School Musical, the series, were beautiful. I think that how they transitioned over from that to Descendants was beautifully done and collaborated. And I think that this story between Red and her sister will obviously present a very interesting storyline, far more interesting than anything we have perhaps seen. But if you actually go back and watch that 19-minute production of Descendants, there is a greater appreciation for Merlin Academy and characters from Sword in the Stone that some people probably never paid attention to. The detail was absolutely fantastic, and how they brought it to life was something I can never seem to give them enough credit for. Because people will criticize it forever feeling like it was a Wicked or a Harry Potter kind of musical kind of vibe, but I think that's really just jumping to what I would like to refer to as a formidable conclusion. I love how I associate words like formidable conclusion, dramatic conclusion with Descendants of Zombies, because that's what critics want us to buy into, is that how we're going to see a dramatic conclusion. Like, I remember when they made the Kingdom Hearts video game back in 2019, Kingdom Hearts 3. And Kingdom Hearts 3 was created with the sole purpose of having Kingdom Hearts see its dramatic conclusion. I don't like seeing dramatic conclusions because I've never ever wanted to say goodbye to anything Disney has ever done. Kingdom Hearts, High School Musical, Hannah Montana, Wizards, Descendants of Zombies many years later. I think everybody deserves the honor of, seeing their favorite franchises continue on and pursue other ventures and other projects and inspire more people than ever before. And I really believe Descendants of Zombies has provided us with that opportunity to do just that. Because I think that more dreams have been realized because of Descendants of Zombies, more things have come into fruition because of Descendants of Zombies, because whoever thought 10 years ago Descendants of Zombies would spin off into a Worlds Collide tour? I never ever thought that. I never ever thought I'd be talking about a girl named Freya Sky, who I was blown away by, years later. I think she is incredible. I think she is definitely forever and always going to present the argument of being the next Taylor Swift. And I think that if you have a girl worth $1.5 billion in terms of Taylor Swift, then Freya Sky can go on to achieve that many years from now. She may be a long way away from achieving it, but when you're reading down through comments of Vivo YouTube videos about how she's the next Disney pop star, how can you not agree with that? How can you not be convinced that Freya is going to be that? I think there's forever and always going to be an argument presented about how Freya Sky has done a fabulous job entertaining us at just 15 years old. She just turned 16 on October 17th. Happy late birthday to you. I think there is so much of a conversation that can happen about her, and in a way that we want to hear it. I think that a lot of people just start up conversations about Freya Sky and Meg Donnelly because they see the negative in everything. And I think that, okay, Meg Donnelly is feeling down about herself, feeling she's not good enough as a singer and an actress. That's understandable because she's under a lot of pressure. But because she's under a lot of pressure, do we have to talk about her in such a negative way? Can we please present a positive vibe, if anything, from Meg Donnelly? Okay, I understand she's under a lot of pressure. She's dealing with a lot of pressure on her shoulders. But we can take that away from her, and we can talk about her in a way that she deserves to be talked about, because she took that character, Addison Wells, and brought her to life with the Zombies franchise, and people still talk about her. She's revered. They're a power couple, Ed and Addison. So I think that if we're talking about them, at least we can do is talk about them in a way they were meant to be talked about. The reason why I sit in this chair every morning and I sit in front of this microphone is because I believe it just as much as each and every one of you do. And I've always wanted to encourage whatever you believe about Descendants of Zombies is going to happen. Mermaids, pirates, witches, sirens. I'll go for it all, because I was a huge fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer years ago, and I was a big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I thought how Sarah Michelle Gellar took a character that the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer just couldn't do, Kristen Sutherland. I thought that she really brought that character to life, apart from what Kristen Sutherland did in the 1991 movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Many of you are probably too young to remember that. But you had all these new actresses coming into, entertainment by the early 1990s, and they did such a fabulous job remaking things and retelling stories. Sabrina the Teenage Witch by Melissa Joan Hart, of course, Buffy the Vampire Slayer by Sarah Michelle Gellar. They did a great job bringing these characters to life and telling these stories and retelling these stories, because Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a movie done in 1991. I remember being there, seeing how it was produced and how everybody was so excited about the movie and then the spin-off TV series. There's such a history that goes with talking about vampires. So because there's such a history that goes with vampires and, researching characters like Dracula that's had over 200 revered appearances in movies and stage productions over the years, Dracula is the most celebrated vampiric character in history. So because there's so much of a lore that goes with vampires, don't you think for one second that there's still a chance to see more of a story with Victor and Nova, and so much more of an unpredictable story, and just something so proud to be a part of? Can't we just be proud to be a part of whatever Zombies and Descendants has forthcoming, instead of criticizing it? And that's what I've always wanted to be here to do, to encourage you that whatever your hopes and dreams are for Descendants and Zombies are, I'm here to support that. 110% all the way, full throttle, 365. Going to upload videos about Descendants and Zombies for the rest of my life, for the people who have always and forever held a special place in their hearts for Descendants and Zombies. I know we're about 5 days away from Halloween 2025, and I'm probably going to get egged and TP'd this year. And I prepare myself for the inevitable while uploading videos about Descendants and Zombies, and I invite you to join me throughout the day of Halloween. Of course, Halloween day and Halloween night, I will be here 24/7 uploading videos about Descendants Descendants of Zombies for the rest of my life, because I really do believe that if we're going to talk about Descendants of Zombies, then that's exactly what we should do, is talk about Descendants of Zombies and have a whole lot of fun while we talk about Descendants of Zombies, because there's a greater appreciation to have for this and to showcase. And I think that if we're uploading reaction videos, then give our reactions, but at least tell everybody why we're fans of Descendants of Zombies. I'm a fan of Descendants of Zombies because I think it's cool. The music was beautiful. I'm going to see Wicked this November because I think the music is beautiful, and I think Ariana Grande is beautiful. I think Kylie Control is beautiful. That's why I watched Descendants, because I think Kylie Control is beautiful, and she has a bright future ahead of her. And because I know some girl is watching this video who believes the same thing, I just wanted to encourage that. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support you've shown each and every one of these videos. I will be back with a new podcast later on this afternoon, which I cordially invite you to join me for, because I have a lot to say where Kylie Control goes. She's beautiful. She's talented. Why can't we just feel the same way? Why can't we just support Kylie Control for the future? Because she has a very bright one, and I just want to encourage that for everybody who believes the same thing. If you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, you're probably going to want to do that. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support, all the recent subscriptions that have happened for this YouTube channel. Over 75,000 channel views have come in. Over 3,000 people have subscribed to this YouTube channel, approaching 4,000. I can't even believe that, making this the most popular Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel in the world, and everything related to it. We will keep this conversation going for as long as we possibly can. If you have not subscribed, you're probably going to want to do that, because life really is sweeter when all of us are. Guys, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so very much.